Hi, Shelby Joe Long here, your second episode of the Consultant's Corner, where I help you launch, refine, and scale your consulting business and your coaching business because you have an idea that's going to make an impact in the world and your genius needs to be a part of the marketplace. I help you develop your idea and then also position it in the right marketplace so you can make money from your idea. Last week, I talked about the opportunities of building a coaching and consulting business. The opportunities are vast. You have more time. You not only get to live a life of your passion, but you get to work with who you want to. All of those things are really fun. This week, I'm going to talk about why selecting a niche is so important for launching your coaching and consulting business. The niche, that's such a dirty word to some people because consultants and people, especially new business owners, feel that the more focused I am, and if I niche down to a certain audience, I'm going to be leaving other audiences out that might need my solution. It's actually not true. It's actually far from the truth because the more clear that you are in your message, if you are solving a problem for a certain audience, a person that is tangential to that audience, that target audience, is going to see that solution and they're going to want to be in on the action. And so it actually is a way that you can increase your visibility of your message. And it's also a way that you can really identify who you are and who you serve, and you get to add more value to what you are providing. All of those things end up in multiple streams of income that you can develop around your ideas, but then also different ways that you can influence and different ways that you can impact. So let's talk about your niche and why it's so important, particularly in the business consulting industry and particularly in the business coaching industry. It's important because coaches are a dime a dozen, particularly in the post-COVID era, particularly in the era where you can reach anybody. You can find a lot of coaches, you can find a lot of consultants out there. Your niche and how you define who you are and who you serve is the way that you can really start to separate your audience and really start to hone in on who actually is going to buy from you and where you can begin to monetize your expertise. So we'll talk about some ways to do that. But fundamentally, your niche is down to a few certain questions: who you are, who you serve, what's your transformation that you sell, and what makes you different. So those four basic things are something to really think about when we think about our niche. So let's talk about who you are. That's the first step to think about. It's your brand. Who you are, your whole idea of your brand is who you are, who you serve, what makes you different, and why should I buy from you? That's really the really interesting piece about that, is what is your brand? So the question about who you are, your audience doesn't need to know all the bits and pieces about who you are. They don't need to know your entire background, but they need to know the important things in your background that are important to that particular audience. I'll give you an example. So I am a college professor. I have been for a lot of years. I have a few degrees behind my name. That is what it is. Do I introduce that when I'm in a networking meeting with business consultants? No, because a business consultant or businesses that need my help don't care about my degrees. They only care about the solution that I'm going to provide them. And if they spend their money with me, if that's going to help them, their business, and more profit and help them save time, that's what they care about. Now, if I am a doctor and I'm speaking at a medical conference, yeah, my doctor audience probably needs to know that I am a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying that that is an example of where a degree is something that's important. But mostly your audience is not going to need to know about where you studied and who you studied with and all of those things, because your audience is going to be concentrated around the problem that you solve. So when you think about your story, you've got to think about not only introducing who you are, but what are the credentials, what are the experience that you have in a way that connects with your audience, that is going to be things that are meaningful to them. So when the question is who you are, Tell me a little bit about your story. Tell me about why you decided to do what you do, why you decided to step into consulting. Why did you decide to become a manufacturer? Why do you want to get this product to the world? So, whether you're a consultant or a coach, or whether you're concentrated on selling a product and being an expert in that space, give me a little bit of your why. Talk about your story. The reason that we use our story is so we give a little personality to our brand. When we have that personality, we are more approachable. We are somebody that we create an emotional connection with our audience before we care about what we're selling and what we're exactly doing. So giving a little bit of your personality, a little bit of your story is a really important thing. Give you another example. I live in Montana. When you live in Montana, and you're a consultant in Montana and you're a speaker in Montana, people want to know that you're from Montana. So it's creating that connection with your audience that is something that's really important. So think about that. What is that for you? What's your brand personality? What are the things that my audience might want to know about me that make me memorable, make me approachable, that make me want to do that? Particularly in the coaching and the consulting industry, when you are focused on solving a problems and working one-on-one with people, that becomes so important, is being able to get a little bit of your brand personality. Now, your brand charisma, which is much more about how you're going to connect with an audience to solve their problems, that's where your credibility piece comes in. That's where your experience comes in. That's the part of your story where you talk about your trials and tribulations and how you overcame them to discover the solution. That's something that's key for consultants, being able to tell that story, to be able to have that brand personality. Because again, consultants are a dime a dozen. So, how do you differentiate yourself? How do you make yourself different? And your story is one piece about who you are and how you can and how you connect with people. It's the emotional connection first. The second thing to think about is answering the question of what you do. And you can say that you're a business consultant, you can say that you're a speaking coach, but it's a very static way to describe what you do. When you think about answering the question about explain what you do, think about the results that you help your audience achieve. I help you become a better speaker so you can earn more money on stage. That's what I do. I help you refine your business practices so you can earn more money. I help you. It's a very simple statement. I help you do this so you can do this. Your audience is probably not going to care about the process. They're going to care about results. Your audience doesn't buy process. They don't want to buy something that's hard, but they do want to increase their return on investment. They do want to make more money. They do want to have more time freedom. So thinking about talking about your transformation in those larger results, what I help my audience achieve, that's how we explain about what we do. I don't need to get into the process of how to do things. That comes after we identify our niche and create that connection. And when we get into a sales conversation, then maybe that's when we talk about the particulars of what it is that you're buying and what you're doing. But really thinking about explaining what you do, what's the golden result that you're helping your audience achieve? And how do you do that? What vehicle, what method are you using to do that? That is really where it is at, especially for a consultant and a coach, is that maybe you're a coach for a well-known consulting or coaching academy and you're using a certain process. That's fine. You can use whatever process you want, but it is you delivering that process and you are the one that puts the unique stamp on that. So that's really where you have to think about what results that you are trying to help your audience achieve. So again, when you think about your brand personality and your brand charisma, what makes you attractive? Why do people want to talk to you? Because you want to connect with somebody. The results are really what are going to draw people into what your offer is and what your communication is about that. So those are two important things to think about in your niche, is that, and also as a consultant, you don't have to work for everybody. You can work, and the more focused you are in your niche and the more focused you are on your solution, the higher prices that you can charge. If you are solving a problem that's unique to people that have those problems, then people are shopping at a boutique, not at Walmart. So that's the difference, is that as a niche, you're providing a boutique solution for something, not a solution that you can find at a general store, if you will. It's a difference between shopping at Walmart for meat and going to a butcher to get some meat. So it's just the different quality, it's different price points, it's all sorts of different things. It's just like thinking about you and what you offer. Yes, your story is an important part of it. Yes, what you offer is an important part of it, but positioning you in a way that matches the audience that you want to reach is the third piece that you've got to think about. When that's what we think about in the third step is, who do you serve? Who do you want to serve? There are many people that you can serve as a consultant and a coach, but do you want to serve all of them? And is your solution, is your method a match for all of those? I'll give you an example. Business consulting is one, many people describe themselves as business consultants. Great, I'm a business consultant. Are you a business consultant for what type of business? What type of industry? What stage the business is in? If you are a startup in business, you have very different needs than if you are a business that has been around for 3 or 4 years, that you are now thinking about scaling your business rather than getting clients. Clients are all a part of that, but there's different needs that businesses have depending on what stage that they're at. And I think that's really important to think about when you think about a niche. It's not who you want to work with as far as the gender and religion and industry. It's a who you want to work with and who is at the right space that needs the exact solution that you have. As a consultant, you can position yourself in a way to solve that problem, and you can charge more money for it if it's a certain niche of who you serve. So when we think about who you serve, I think about it more as instead of demographics, which is the sex and the gender and the industry and the socioeconomic status, much less about that, the demographics, and much more about psychologically where your audience is. Is your audience at a space where they're ready to put more money into their business and grow it and scale it? Maybe they're not there. Maybe they're at this, they want to maintain and they want to work on their culture and they want to make sure they have more resilience in their employees. Whatever that is, you have to meet them where they are. Maybe you're working with a startup that has some resources, but they need to figure out where to strategically spend their money to be able to make the most impact. There are a lot of different psychological concerns to think about, which has everything to do with the resources and the money that you have and the investment that you have for those resources. So those are all things to think about and consider when you talk about your niche. Which gets you to the final piece that's important about your niche is what differentiates you. Again, consultants and coaches are a dime a dozen. You can find a coach and consultant, you can look them up online, you can find them on social media, you can find them wherever. But that's not what differentiates you or what makes you different or unique. So I think the differentiation question about what makes you different comes out in your story, and it comes out in the transformation that you've had. You've experienced a transformation. You've gone through some challenging things. You're on the other side of it. Your story is what makes that differentiating factor to be able to speak to an audience about solving their problems. So that's where I think your differentiation comes from. Your differentiation comes in your story, and it becomes in your focus, and it becomes in your solution. So all of those things we've kind of talked about of why it's so important to do that. So think about your niche as you get into consulting, or as you're redefining your consulting and relaunching your consulting career, as you're getting into it. Think about who you want to serve. I think fundamentally the most important thing about who you are, the solution that you provide, who you serve, and your differentiation is where you want to position yourself in the marketplace. Do you want to position yourself with working with startups? Do you want to position yourself in working with speaking industries? Do you want to position yourself in working with marketing agencies? Do you want to position yourself and working with mechanics or healthcare industries. The more focused you are in that space helps you define your niche even more. And again, your niche focusing on a certain area means that you're solving a problem for one group. It's just going to resonate even better with another group, with the group that's adjacent to them. Then that helps your target marketing when you get into the actual marketing phase. So here's your consultant's corner. Tip 2 of the week is to be able to focus on your niche. And as a consultant, the more clarity you have around your niche, the more clarity that you have around who you are, who you serve, what's your differentiating factor, and what problem do you solve, the easier you're going to be able to resonate with the audience and really build a business. So really looking forward to these events every week. I like coming here and chatting about these things, and I am hoping that you get some value from it. Always love a follow-up. If you want to follow up, just book time. ShelbyJoLong.com is where you find my information and where you can book a call with me. But always happy to talk about your consulting business, help you form it, help you scale it, help you create partnerships so you can take your business to the next level. That's what I'm here for. So ShelbyJoLong.com. I will see you next week with the next Consultants Corner tip of the week. Have a good week.